Beloved, I stand before you today to declare a truth as unshakable as the law of seed time and harvest. Prosperity is not a chance occurrence, but the inevitable result of aligning with divine law. The 5 principles of prosperity and wealth are not man-made inventions. They are eternal truths, operating now and forever, awaiting only your recognition and obedience. The first is the law of the spoken word. By thy words thou shalt be justified. This is not a figure of speech, but the very law by which your life is shaped. Words are living seeds, charged with power, and they must produce after their kind in the fertile soil of divine mind. Speak of lack, and you plant poverty. Speak of abundance, and you summon prosperity. Many unknowingly seal the door to their own supply by declaring, "I cannot afford," or "I never have enough." Yet the moment you choose to speak the word in faith, words of plenty, wholeness, and perfect provision, you set an unfailing law into motion. I have seen entire lives transformed simply by the change of speech. One man, deep in debt and with a stagnant business, began each morning declaring, "I have abundant supply, under grace and in perfect ways. Money comes to me in expected and unexpected channels." At first, his reason resisted, but he persisted until the very words filled the air with expectancy. Within weeks, his business began to prosper. Old debts were cleared, and new opportunities flowed freely. The tongue is the rudder that turns the ship of destiny. The outer conditions of life are but a reflection of the inner words and thoughts. There is no loss in divine mind. Every good you can speak in faith already exists in the invisible, awaiting your claim. Therefore, let every word you speak be a seed of life, prosperity, and abundance, and the harvest will surely follow. I do not speak of empty recitation, for idle words carry no creative force. The word must be spoken in faith, with the inner knowing that it is already accomplished in the unseen. Faith is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, and the word is the command that sends your supply across that bridge. When you speak in fear, you create more fear. When you speak in love and confidence, you create that which you love, and that in which you are confident. If a gardener plants thorns, he does not expect roses. Yet many plant words of thorns and cry out in dismay when they reap a thorny field. The law is impartial. It will grow whatever you sow. I have seen those who, even in the face of apparent loss, refuse to speak defeat. A woman once told me her position had been taken from her. She would not say she had been dismissed, but declared, "A better place is already prepared for me. What is mine comes to me under grace and in perfect ways." Within days, an offer came for work far more suited to her gifts, with greater pay and freer hours. She did not bow to appearances, for she knew that divine mind holds her true place secure, and that loss is impossible to the one who aligns with truth. Therefore, I urge you, let your every word be a declaration of abundance, health, joy, and success. Refuse to give voice to fear or failure, for to speak them is to invite them in. Even in silence, the inner conversation must be one of faith, for the unspoken word is still a seed in the soil of the subconscious. Guard your tongue, for it is the scepter of your kingdom. Use it to decree only that which you desire to see made manifest. Say often, "I speak only words of truth and life. My supply is endless, inexhaustible, and immediate. I am divinely prospered now, under grace and in perfect ways." Let this be the law of your lips, and you will see the law of your life change in perfect correspondence. When you master the spoken word, you master the outer conditions, for the outer is but the mirror of the inner. The tongue that blesses cannot curse, and the lips that praise cannot want. As we go forward, having established the spoken word as the foundation of all manifestation, we turn to the second great truth, the principle of divine right action. The second is the principle of divine right action. Your steps are ordered by the Lord, and every right step leads to increase. There is no wasted motion in the kingdom, no detour, no misstep, for the one who trusts the guiding light of divine intelligence. Too often, people toil in confusion, pushing against closed doors or clinging to paths long bereft of life, because they have not paused to seek the inner command. Divine right action is not hurried, it is not born of anxiety or fear of loss. It is the calm, sure movement of the soul, in perfect harmony with the plan already complete in divine mind. I say to you, there is no loss in divine mind. Therefore, you cannot be deprived of the path, the place, or the opportunity that is yours by divine right. When you speak the word for guidance, you draw upon the infinite mind, which sees the end from the beginning and directs you without error. I recall a man who came to me in great distress, for the work he had relied upon for many years was suddenly taken from him. His friends urged him to grasp at any opportunity, to act quickly lest he fall into ruin. But I said, do not run in fear. Stand still and declare, Infinite Spirit, open the way for my immediate and permanent supply. Let the right place, the right work, and the right compensation be revealed to me under grace and in perfect way. He obeyed, and though his reason told him he was idle, in truth, he was resting in the perfect activity of God. Within 2 weeks, a position was offered to him in an entirely new field, which not only doubled his income, but used his talents more fully than ever before. This was not chance. It was the inevitable result of aligning with divine right action. When you act without divine leading, you may enter into much activity, yet no true progress is made, for the energy is scattered. But when the step is God-corrected, one action contains the power of many, for it is backed by the inexhaustible resources of the infinite. To move in divine right action is to move in joy, without strain, without uncertainty, and without fear. It is to know that the same mind that guides the planets in their courses is guiding your affairs now. Say often, I am always in my right place, doing my right work, with my right people, under grace and in perfect ways. This affirmation clears the path before you and removes all obstacles, for no one can take the place that belongs to you by divine appointment, nor can you be forced to remain where your work is finished. There are those who believe that opportunity must be chased, but opportunity is like a well-trained servant. It comes swiftly to the call of faith and right speaking. When you speak in harmony with divine right action, unseen forces move on your behalf, arranging circumstances, touching hearts, and opening doors at the precise moment. It is not for you to force the way open. It is for you to recognize that the way already exists and to take each step as it is revealed. This is the path of peace, for it requires no striving, only obedience to the quiet voice within that says, "This is the way, walk ye in it." I have seen those who, in the midst of seeming chaos, held fast to the knowing that they were divinely led, and the very winds of adversity carried them into a larger place. For divine right action is never hindered by appearances. It makes a way where there is no way. It redeems what seemed lost, and it turns every seeming delay into a perfect preparation. There is no loss in divine mind, and therefore no lost time, no lost opportunity, no lost position. All that is yours by divine right is secure, and will find you when you are ready to receive it. So I say again, refuse to act in fear. Stand in the quiet confidence of one who is divinely guided. Affirm your right place, right work, and right reward. Refuse to be moved by appearances, and refuse to run ahead of your guidance. The steps of the righteous are ordered of the Lord, and each step will lead you higher into greater usefulness, greater supply, and greater joy. And now, having established the truth of divine right action, we turn to the third principle, the law of giving and receiving. The third is the law of giving and receiving. You cannot outgive God, and as you pour out blessings, blessings shall return to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. This law is as unchangeable as the law of gravity. It is the divine circulation of supply. Just as the ocean is never stagnant, but forever flows in tides and currents, so must the wealth of your life move outward if it is to return multiplied. Many fear to give, thinking they will have less, but I tell you plainly, there is no loss in divine mind. What is given in love, under grace, and in perfect ways, returns on a current far stronger than the one upon which it left. To withhold in fear is to dam the stream. and a dammed stream becomes stagnant, but to give in faith is to keep the river of supply flowing freely through your life. I recall a woman who came to me in deep financial difficulty. She could barely meet her obligations, and the thought of giving seemed absurd to her. But I told her, "You must open the channel by releasing something, however small, to prove to yourself that your supply is not fixed in the outer, but springs from the infinite source." She obeyed, giving a modest sum to one in greater need, and each day she affirmed, "I give freely and fearlessly, knowing my gifts return to me multiplied, under grace and in perfect ways." Within a month, unexpected income began to appear, small at first, then larger, until she was entirely free of debt. Her giving had set in motion a spiritual law that could not be denied. When you speak the word for increase, be willing to act in harmony with that word by letting your hands, your time, your love, and your resources bless others. For the word without action is like a seed unplanted. It contains the life, but the life cannot manifest. Giving is planting in the soil of divine mind, and the harvest is sure. You may not always reap from the same field in which you sow, but the law sees to it that what you give is multiplied and returned to you from the right source at the right time, under grace and in perfect ways. Some give only in expectation of immediate return, but such giving is tinged with anxiety and does not carry the vibration of true generosity. Give as though you already possess all that you could ever need, for in truth, you do. The infinite storehouse cannot be emptied, and you are heir to it all. If you speak constantly of lack, you close the door to this supply. But if you speak words of gratitude and plenty, and act as one who has more than enough to share, you align yourself with the abundance of the universe. Say often, "I give, and it is given unto me. My gifts bless others, and the divine returns them to me multiplied 1,000-fold under grace and in perfect ways." Let this be the tone of your inner and outer life, and watch as the floodgates open. The law of giving and receiving applies to every form of good: money, love, encouragement, service, kindness. When you withhold forgiveness, you block the flow of peace to your own soul. When you withhold recognition, you block the flow of recognition in your own affairs. Every gift you send forth is an investment in your own good, and every withholding is a withdrawal from your own account in divine mind. There is no loss in divine mind, but there can be delay in your receiving if you do not keep the channel open. Give quickly when the divine prompts you, without reasoning or hesitation, and you will find that the right supply will always meet you on your path. Do not think of giving as something that lessens you. Think of it as breathing. You cannot inhale without first exhaling. To hold your breath is to suffocate. To hold your substance is to starve the flow of your good. When you live in this rhythm of giving and receiving, your life becomes like the river, ever moving, ever renewed, never diminished. Even the smallest act of generosity carries within it the seed of great return. And so we pass from the law of giving and receiving to the fourth principle, the law of perfect trust. The fourth is the law of perfect trust. To release worry is to open the gates of your supply. Fear closes them tight. Perfect trust is not a fragile hope, nor is it a wavering belief that shifts with every wind of circumstance. It is the steadfast knowing that God's plan for you is already complete, already supplied, and already unfolding under grace and in perfect ways. There is no loss in divine mind. Therefore, there can be no true loss in your life when you are aligned with the infinite. Worry is faith in evil. It is the expectation of loss, the belief that the universe is somehow against you. Perfect trust, on the other hand, is faith in good. It is the expectation that every need will be met, every door will open at the right time, and every event will work together for your highest good. To speak the word in perfect trust is to plant the seed of your desire in the soil of divine mind, and then rest, knowing the harvest is sure. I once knew a man who had longed for years to open his own business. Every time he came near to taking a step, fear whispered that he might fail, that customers might not come, that the money might not hold out. So he hesitated, delayed, and remained in a place of dissatisfaction. When he came to me, I said, "You must see your business as already established in divine mind. Speak the word now. The right business is established for me now, under grace and in perfect ways. All that I need comes to me quickly and easily. Then release it to God and act only when you feel the inner leading." He did so, and something within him shifted. The next week, he was guided to an opportunity that seemed small, yet it unfolded step by step into the very business he had dreamed of, with a steady flow of customers from the very start. The moment he chose perfect trust, the energy of fear was broken, and the way opened before him. Fear is the great robber of man's inheritance. It binds the hands that would otherwise be outstretched to receive. Perfect trust loosens those bonds and keeps you receptive to the good that is already on its way. This trust must be active. It is not a passive waiting in doubt, but a joyful expectancy, a calm assurance that the law is working now. When appearances contradict your desire, you do not allow them to dictate your speech or your inner vision. Instead, you say, "This too shall pass. Only good can come to me, for I live in the perfect harmony of divine law. My good comes quickly, easily, and in perfect ways." Such words carry the vibration of faith and open the invisible channels of supply. There are those who imagine that trusting means doing nothing at all, but perfect trust walks hand in hand with perfect action. The one who trusts listens for the inner prompting and moves when it speaks. This is trust in motion. You cannot say you trust the seed to grow if you keep digging it up to see if it has sprouted. Likewise, you cannot say you trust divine mind if you continually rehearse your fears and speak of lack. Trust leaves the seed in the soil, waters it with gratitude, and awaits the inevitable growth. Say often, "I trust God's plan for me. I do not strain, I do not force, I do not fear. All things come to me in divine order, under grace and in perfect ways." Hold this in your heart and upon your lips, and it will draw to you the people, resources, and events needed to fulfill your desire. Perfect trust makes you a magnet for good, for it aligns you with the very vibration of abundance. The one who trusts has already received in the unseen, and the outer must soon reflect the inner reality. And now, having laid the foundation of perfect trust, we turn to the fifth principle, the principle of recognition. The fifth is the principle of recognition. To see yourself as already supplied, already wealthy in the invisible until it manifests in the visible. All creation begins in the unseen, and recognition is the act of claiming your good in that realm before your physical eyes behold it. Divine mind holds every perfect pattern for your life: health, wealth, joy, and success, complete and waiting to be called forth. When you recognize your good as present now, you set in motion the law that draws the invisible into form. There is no loss in divine mind, therefore nothing can truly be withheld from you when you accept it in consciousness. Many delay their good because they continually speak of it as a future event, always coming, never here. But to speak the word of recognition is to declare, "It is mine now, I see it, I feel it, I rejoice in it," and thus bring the unseen closer to the seen. I recall a woman who longed for a home of her own. She spoke constantly of how she would have it someday, but someday never came. I told her, "You must recognize that home now. Walk through it in your imagination. Bless each room as though you already dwell there. Speak the word, 'My perfect home is mine now,' under grace and in perfect ways." She began to do this daily, feeling the joy of already possessing it. Within months, a relative she had not heard from in years wrote to offer her a house as a gift, perfectly suited to her needs. This was not magic. It was the law of recognition working without obstruction. She no longer placed her good in the uncertain future, she brought it into her present consciousness, and the outer followed. Recognition requires that you live as though your desire is fulfilled, not in pretense, but in faith. If you are seeking greater supply, do not speak as one in want. Speak as one who lives in the abundance of God now. Affirm, "I am richly supplied now. All that is mine by divine right comes to me quickly and easily, under grace and in perfect ways." This does not mean reckless spending or foolishness. It means allowing your words, your thoughts, and your actions to align with the truth that your supply is secure in divine mind. The one who recognizes abundance will see abundance take form. The one who recognizes lack will see lack multiplied. The law is exact and cannot be deceived. Some imagine that they must wait until all appearances confirm their desire before they can rejoice. But that is the way of the world, not the way of spirit. In the realm of spirit, you rejoice first, and the form follows. If a farmer waited to rejoice until the harvest was in his barn, he would sow with a heavy heart and reap a meager yield. But he rejoices when the seed is planted, knowing the harvest is inevitable. Recognition is your spiritual planting. It is the inward acceptance that brings the outward result. Do not be swayed by appearances that contradict your desire. They are but shadows, quickly dispelled by the light of truth. Hold fast to your recognition of the good, knowing that the invisible is always greater than the visible. Say often, "I see my good now. I have my heart's desire now. It comes to me in perfect order, under grace and in perfect ways." As you hold this vision, the outer will rearrange itself to match the inner pattern, for the outer is but the reflection of the inner. Recognition is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, and it will not fail the one who walks it in faith. And so, with the principle of recognition firmly established, we see that each of these 5 principles, when lived, spoken, and believed, form the unshakable foundation for prosperity and wealth. Beloved, we have walked together through the 5 unchanging principles of prosperity and wealth: the law of the spoken word, the principle of divine right action, the law of giving and receiving, the law of perfect trust, and the principle of recognition. Each is a golden key, and when used together, they unlock the storehouses of divine supply. These are not theories, nor are they the inventions of man. They are eternal laws, as sure as the sunrise, as steadfast as the tide. There is no loss in divine mind, and there is no limitation to the one who dares to believe, to speak the word, and to act in faith. Whatever the desire of your heart, whether it be greater supply, perfect health, harmonious relationships, or the fulfillment of your life's purpose, it is already yours in the invisible. As you align your thoughts, your words, and your actions with these truths, you call forth the pattern that has been yours since the beginning. Go forth, knowing that you are not seeking your good, you are allowing it to reveal itself. You are not striving for what is far away, you are accepting what is already here. Stand firm, speak boldly, give joyfully, trust completely, and recognize your good now. Then watch as life unfolds before you, under grace and imperfect ways, with a beauty and abundance beyond what you could have planned for yourself. The doors will open, the channels will flow, and your path will shine brighter and brighter under the perfect day. Good luck on your journey of faith and fulfillment, and may you see the manifestation of every good word you have spoken. Thank you.